long before humans walked the earth, before cities, before names, before memory. This world belonged to giants. We call them dinosaurs. But in ancient legend, they were known as the Earth's guardians. They were the first kings and queens of a planet still in its infancy, a world both beautiful and brutal. Their story is not just one of teeth and claws, but of a profound connection to the land they roamed. It's a tale of majesty, of a great and terrible duty, and a warning that echoes through the ages. This is the legend of the Earth's first rulers, a story etched not in books, but in the very bones of the world itself. The age of giants began in an era we can barely imagine. Mountains were still young, jagged peaks clawing at the sky. The oceans were vast and restless, churning with life unseen. Across the land, through the air, and within the depths of the sea, the giants ruled. Each step of a colossal sauropod, a titanosaur, shook the ground, a rhythmic heartbeat of the planet. Each roar of a tyrannosaurus echoed across the horizon, a declaration of power and presence. But they were not agents of chaos. They were part of a grand, intricate design, living by the unspoken law of the earth: balance, survival, and protection. Imagine a herd of triceratops, their formidable horns, not just for defense, but to clear paths through dense cycad forests, allowing smaller creatures to forage. Picture a pteranodon soaring on thermal updrafts, its shadow gliding over valleys, its keen eyes watching the world below not just for prey, but as a silent sentinel of the skies. In the warm, shallow seas, a mother mosasaur guided her young, teaching them the currents, instilling the ancient wisdom of the deep. They were a part of the ecosystem, not separate from it. They were the gardeners, the engineers, the guardians of a world teeming with life. They moved with the seasons, followed the migrations of their prey, and respected the territories of their rivals. Their lives were a testament to adaptation and resilience, a dance between predator and prey, strength and vulnerability. They built no cities, forged no tools, yet their dominion was absolute. They were the living embodiment of nature's raw, untamed power. Their reign was long, their kingdom vast, and for millions of years, it seemed their world would never end. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the sky began to change. The winds, once warm and predictable, grew colder, carrying a strange, unfamiliar scent. The vibrant green of the vast fern prairies began to fade, and the great forests fell strangely silent. The usual chorus of life seemed to be holding its breath. The stars in the night sky, once distant and gentle, began to burn with an unsettling brightness. New lights appeared, small at first, like falling tears of fire, streaking across the darkness. The giants, with their senses honed over millions of years, felt the shift deep in their bones. The earth's rhythm was off. A great Argentinosaurus, its head high above the treetops, would pause its feeding, its massive body still, sensing a tremor that was not of the ground. A pack of velociraptors, masters of the hunt, would abandon their chase, their intelligent eyes fixed on the troubled sky. The creatures of the sea sensed it too, a change in the pressure, a wrongness in the water. They sensed something unknown, something inevitable. They did not understand what it was, but they felt its approach like a coming storm, a shadow falling over their entire world. It was the feeling of an ending. The final day arrived not in darkness, but in a flash of blinding light. A new star, brighter than the sun, tore through the atmosphere. The sky screamed. The earth shattered. The impact sent a wave of unimaginable force across the globe, a wall of fire and dust that consumed everything in its path. Mountains crumbled into dust. The seas boiled and rose, crashing over the land in tsunamis miles high. The very air turned to fire. In this moment of ultimate chaos, the giants did not flee. They could not. Where would they run? They stood their ground. We see them in our minds, a tyrannosaurus roaring in defiance at the incandescent sky, a herd of ankylosaurs, their armored bodies huddled together, instinctively shielding the smaller, more fragile traces of life that had sought refuge among them. They faced the apocalypse, not as panicked beasts, but with a final, defiant act of guardianship. They stood not as rulers, but as keepers of a history that was about to be erased, their colossal forms becoming the last shields for a world on the brink of annihilation. And then, they were gone. The roars that had defined a world for 100 million years fell silent. The ground that had trembled beneath their weight was still. The world, shattered and burned, fell quiet. A great silence descended upon the planet, a silence filled with the dust of a former age. But the giants did not vanish completely. Their story was too immense to be erased. They slept. They slept within layers of stone, their bones turning to rock. They slept beneath the soil of new forests, under the sands of new deserts, waiting. Their legacy was buried, hidden from the world that would slowly, painstakingly recover. They became a secret the earth kept, a memory held in fossilized form, waiting for new eyes, new hands, to uncover their tale, and remember the time when giants walked the land. Eons passed, the world healed. New life emerged, small and cautious at first, in the shadows of the old world. Mammals, once tiny creatures scurrying at the feet of the giants, inherited the quieted earth. Ice ages came and went. Continents drifted. And then a new kind of being appeared. One with curiosity, with memory, with hands that could dig and minds that could wonder. Humanity. We found them. A farmer's plow strikes something hard and unfamiliar. A child on a walk discovers a strangely shaped rock. A scientist on a windswept badland brushes away dust to reveal the curve of a massive ribcage. Each discovery was a whisper from the past. We unearthed their bones, pieced together their skeletons, and stood in awe before their reconstructed forms in our museums. We gave them names: Stegosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Spinosaurus. We studied their lives, their power, their extinction. In their silent, stony gaze, we saw a reflection of our own world. We saw a story of incredible success followed by sudden, catastrophic failure. The Earth Guardians, who ruled for a time beyond our comprehension, were laid low by a force from beyond their world. They could not adapt. They could not escape. Their strength, their size, their dominance, none of it mattered in the face of an existential threat. They were a reminder that power is fleeting and that no dominion is guaranteed. The legend of the dinosaurs, the Earth's Guardians, leaves us with a profound and urgent warning. It is a story whispered by the wind that blows through the fossil fields, a lesson taught by the silent skeletons in our halls of history. No ruler lasts forever. No species is invincible. We, who now call ourselves the rulers of this world, who build cities of glass and steel, who harness the atom and reach for the stars, stand on the same ground they did. The earth remains, patient and powerful, the ultimate arbiter of all life. It remembers the age of giants, and it watches, waiting to see if we will learn from their story, or if we are destined to become just another layer of bone and dust, another forgotten legend, sleeping in the stone. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing to our channel for more journeys into the deep past. What we learned from them might just save us.